Welcome to the Gavel. I am Terry Ikumi. We begin with what seems to be the final interaction between the leadership of the House of Representatives and concerned parties regarding the strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU. Now, after 3 meetings, it would seem that the House leadership is now ready to meet with the President to present a proposal of some sort that could end the strike. At a meeting on Thursday, which had in attendance the Minister of Labour, the Head of Service of the Federation, the Accountant General of the Federation, the Director General of the Budget Office, representatives from NITDA, as well as the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, who attended briefly, and of course, ASUU. The Speaker of the House of Representatives informed ASUU that the white paper on the Revitalization Fund was ready to be presented to the President. Here's the report. An existing court judgment ordering the striking university lecturers back to the classrooms and an appeal filed by the union does not stand in the way of the resolve of the leadership of the House of Representatives to ensure that students in tertiary institutions resume academic activities. This time at the meeting, all parties were represented.
I will continue to assure you about the support of the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Whatever decisions are taken, whatever directives are given, where we intend to provide any information or be in attendance in subsequent meetings, you can count on me on that. At this point, I would humbly request that Dr. Habiba Lawa, who you know very well, is now the special advisor to the President on policy and coordination, would step into my shoes in my absence and she would brief me accordingly at the end of the meeting. Thank you, sir.
One major issue in contention is the payment system for universities.
Is there any country in the world where salaries for lecturers are paid from the Office of Accountant General? Where is the idea of the law? Let me be patriotic to Nigeria. Are they using the central bank? Are they not peculiar? They don't have law? Are they using it in NIDA? Are they using it in NIDA? So please, let's respect the peculiarity rather than want to put all of us into one small hole. And finally, there's no country in the world will harvest the data of all the academics, package and give to a foreign company. No country will do that in the world.
You see, one of the risks in thinking of even adopting UTES is that if you do this, you're going to create a room for everybody to now come to say, you know what, we're also unique, give us our own. Mr. Speaker, as we speak now in the university environment, we already have two. We have one for the academic staff and non-academic staff. Maybe, you never know, maybe a time is going to come when the cleaners will say, no, you know, we are not professors, give us our own. A time will come when maybe law professors will come, you know, we are law professors, give us our own. In the health sector, the same thing will happen. As we speak, the military is on IPPS, police is on IPPS. And they're also peculiar, they have their own peculiarities. IPPS is not a perfect system, sir. So I want us to understand this. We know this.
There are 3 applications. If the end of the test says that the task on U3PS is the superior one, government should adopt that one. We are vehemently opposed to multiple applications because all that it will do is, worsen our already bad fiscal situation because it will cost money. You'll be spending money at those multiple points.
For us, in terms of professional advice, we have said that these solutions have failed our test in terms of, their usability. I mean, based on the 2 tests that we have done, and we have presented the report. There are vulnerabilities in them, as identified in our test, and there are functionality and user acceptance issues, as we identified in them. So that's what we said. So as far as that is concerned, as far as university payment is concerned, the 3 solutions have failed our test because that is what we tested.
Meanwhile, the comments from the Minister of Labour infuriated the ASUU leadership and led to a slightly rowdy session.
Mr. Speaker, it's jocular, but it's still serious.
That what?
That the ASUU president said that APC government had kept children at home and that Nigerian people should vote out people who are kept their children at home.
No, he didn't say.
What did he say?
We're making progress.
Mr. Speaker,
after Odogutobi, you get the opportunity. You get the opportunity after Odogutobi.
Amid the rowdy session, the Minister of Labour excused himself with the permission of the Speaker.
Inform the public. We go and tell lies to the public.
You will have an opportunity. You will have an opportunity to speak on.
The man of the minister that go and telling lies to the public. No girls. You're telling lies to the public.
Odogutobi, go ahead.
Well,
The head of service of the Federation reacted to calls for autonomy of universities and alleged rampant employment in the system, while the Speaker appealed to the striking lecturers to shift grounds.
The DG budget is always sitting on my head when it is time to pay salaries, because they keep borrowing to pay salaries. The bulk of the personnel cost that government pays goes to tertiary institutions. There's no doubt about that. And so it's a government that is struggling to pay. And I don't want to give, I have examples here of some universities that have gone overboard with this employment. Without, yes, we know that university wants autonomy, and it's not the office of the head of service alone that does this. If they don't want office of the head of service to give waivers and all, then let them, like the Minister of Labour said, let them go completely autonomous. Because you cannot decide if government, even in our families, if the man of the house says, this is the amount I have for chop money this month, everybody has to align. But you cannot say that your needs must be accommodated, even if government does not have the money to pay.
The white paper we told you we'll get, the letter is here, I just showed it, I just waved it. It's now waiting for President's final approval on the revitalization fund. If this is the enabling environment you're trying to get to and you're here, and you cannot get to here now, but you can get to here now, to the middle, let's take it and continue to work towards getting to that final destination.
The leadership of the House is hopeful that this may be the final meeting on the ASUU strike before meeting the President, and appeals to both ASUU and the government to accept the outcome in the interest of Nigerian students. Well, everyone hopes that the intervention of the House would bring an end to the strike. Moving on, let's look at some other out-chamber activities of Parliament, including the screening of resident electoral commissioner nominees by the Senate Committee on INEC, as well as the MTEF hearing by the Senate Committee on Finance. The Senate Committee on INEC on Tuesday screened the 19 nominees sent by the President for confirmation as resident electoral commissioners. There were, however, petitions against the nominees from Sokoto, Ebonyi, Imo, and Benue states.
There is no way state government would have suspended me, come back and take me and begin to give me these positions, making waves. It's in record, it's everywhere. I never was suspended.
I'm not a member of any political party. I have never been a member of any political party. This is just one of these fake and fabricated and false petition, which is aimed at possibly tarnishing my image and possibly seeking to prevent the distinguished senators from approving my nomination.
Meanwhile, during the interaction with MDAs on the MTEF, lawmakers observed irregularities with the financial statements of the National Board for Arabic and Islamic Studies, specifically over non-remittance to the federal government account.
The examination fees is our major source of revenue. Unfortunately for us, some of the states, they refuse to pay us these examination fees on time.
On time?
Yes.
Not that they don't pay?
Not that they don't pay.
Okay.
Like some states, they can take like 2 years before they pay us for the first year. I don't want to mention any state here, sir.
You don't need to. But the question is this, yes. How do you now allow their students to take the exam?
Yes, sir. So we are able to generate to August this year 410 million.
410 million.
410 million.
This year?
This year.
To date?
To date.
As at August?
As
or
of
as
August.
at July?
As of August.
Okay, okay. 410 million.
Including outstanding payments.
Okay, you want to ask what?
And going by 25%.
Yeah.
After our examination expenditures, we were able to pay 30 million naira. 30 million naira.
Out of this 410?
Out of this 410.
The lawmakers also questioned the recurrent expenditure of the board.
You only made 410 million. Your capital was 356, and 327 was released. You used 175. You also have a total staff of 5,963. Doing what? 5,963 members of staff arranging for one examination in a year and being paid 8.5 billion and now generating only 410, out of which you remit only 35 million. There is a need to look deeper into what this is about.
You generated about 410 million. Out of this said amount, only 30-something million comes back to the federal government. And nobody's asking questions. How 380-something million naira has been spent to conduct an exams in a year. They are saying they have spent 380-something million. And we are here to collect another budget from the federal government. I haven't contributed just 35 million. And if they ask for their budget there, they'll be telling me in the region of 10 to 20 billion naira. So, sir, we are going to place you on a full-blown investigation under the supervision of the vice chairman of the committee, while Senator Nachi and Senator Sadiq will join the vice chairman to investigate the Nigerian ASUU of Arabic and Islamic Studies, the national board, and to report back in 2 weeks.
A member of the House of Representatives, Mark Gbila, is raising concerns over the duplication of his name in the list of senatorial candidates released by the Independent National Electoral Commission. The lawmaker is also responding to allegations of breaking the law after his name appeared as candidate for both the Labour Party and the New Nigeria People's Party. The former PDP lawmaker, who says he has defected to the Labour Party and is the senatorial candidate of Benue North for the 2023 senatorial elections, says he is not a member of the NNPP as has been reported. He was speaking to journalists at the National Assembly.
My attention has been drawn to a news item claiming I was sent a letter by INEC informing me I am ineligible to run for the 2023 election and that I broke the law by submitting my information to more than one political party. I want to state categorically and unequivocally that this news item is false, it is malicious, premeditated, and a figment of the criminal and depraved imagination by my opponents and detractors as part of a campaign of calumny against me since my emergence as the Labour Party candidate. This publication was erroneous and without my knowledge, and I have since initiated necessary legal action against INEC and NNPP in order to correct this grievous error which is alleged to have occurred because of NNPP's inability to upload the name of their replacement candidate to the INEC portal within the timeline provided by INEC, and INEC's publication of the last name sent by NNPP without taking into cognizance my resignation of membership and withdrawal as candidate of the NNPP for the Benue Northwest Senatorial District election, which was accompanied by an affidavit I deposed to in this regard on the 7th of July 2022.
Let's go to plenary in both chambers of the National Assembly now. In the upper chamber, lawmakers rejected a proposed bill to ensure power rotation across the 6 zones of the country, forcing the sponsor of the bill, Senator Abamoro, to step it down. And in the House of Representatives, lawmakers advised the federal government to exercise caution to avoid a resurgence of the Ebola virus in the country. During Tuesday's plenary in the Senate, Senator Abamoro led the debate on a bill to ensure power rotation across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, which was scheduled for second reading.
In Nigeria, a multi-ethnic and diverse nation, the need to alternate power across the zones and governorship among the senatorial districts of the country cannot be overemphasized. This is because power rotation can be a veritable tool for our national integration, unity, inclusion, peace, and political stability.
Some senators, however, kicked against the bill, prompting Senator Moro to step it down for further consultations.
We don't need to codify. Why are we waiting to codify this into law? Charity begins at home. Why waiting to codify this into law? Why don't we do what is right? Why don't we do what is needful? Not having had power for 8 years, power should come to the South. So they should tell their presidential candidate to step down from the race.
No matter how we try to allow our sentiments to drive our desire for a very united, equitable country, we equally have a responsibility to balance that with the oath of office we have taken as senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, i.e., to uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And where the Constitution specifically has prescribed the requirement for emerging into each of the offices created by the Constitution, it may be very, very difficult for this Senate to, by way of legislation, upset that provision of the Constitution.
Meanwhile, in the House of Representatives, lawmakers considered and adopted a motion of urgent national importance on the need for the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing to ensure immediate resumption of reconstruction of the Abuja-Kaduna Expressway.
Worried that the situation on the Abuja-Kaduna Highway has become a drawback for the Nigerian economy that, if not immediately rectified, spells doom for the economy and social life of Nigerians, contrary to Section 15, subsection 1 of the Constitution, which mandates the Nigerian state to provide adequate facilities for and encourage free mobility of people, goods, and services. The House resolved to call on the Honorable Minister of Works and Housing to urgently and without further delay direct the contractor, Julius Berger PLC, to immediately return to the site and complete its reconstruction works, starting with the Jere-Kaduna stretch.
Some bills were passed through second reading, which include the National Religious Harmony Commission Establishment Bill to provide a statutory framework for the protection of fundamental human rights of Nigerians as it relates to matters of religious freedom and liberty. The bill, among other things, seeks to provide an early warning system for government and law enforcement to detect and prevent actions liable to incite religious violence and breakdown in law and order. Also passed through second reading was the Employees Unpaid Wages Prohibition Bill, which seeks to ensure the timely remuneration of employees, whether in the public or private sector, and improve the general welfare conditions of employment for labor in the country. Both bills were sponsored by the Speaker and some other members. As plenary progressed, lawmakers were plunged into darkness. After a few minutes in the darkness, the Speaker called for adjournment, and lawmakers exited the chamber using their phone torchlights. On Wednesday, the Green Chamber was scanty and occupied by mostly lawmakers from the ruling All Progressives Congress, as members of the main opposition People's Democratic Party were believed to be attending the inauguration of the party's Presidential Campaign Council. Coming from the recently concluded public hearings on the medium-term expenditure framework, as well as the fiscal strategy paper, and while anticipating the 2023 budget presentation next week, the House considered for second reading a bill which it says will improve the country's budgeting process.
A bill for an act to establish the Office of the Budget Management of the Federation and provide a legal framework for budget process management in the federal government of Nigeria to ensure effective regulation of budget preparation, presentation, implementation, and auditing, and for related matters, House Bill 2063.
Despite the existence of the Budget Office of the Federation, which lawmakers say exists via an executive order, they add that it lacks the legal authority to take actions to give full effect to the Appropriation Act. The bill scaled second reading. Meanwhile, a motion to arrest louts on the nation's highways was stepped down.
I would like to apply to step down this motion for further consultation. Yes, for further consultation, Mr. Speaker.
The motion on need to curb the incessant and unruly behavior of touts operating on major highways in Nigeria. No, Honorable Mama, what's the problem?
No, Mr. Speaker, I think the timing is wrong for
the
him.
Timing?
Yeah, the timing. He's in a precarious situation.
The decision to step down such an important motion could be questioned, in line with what some could regard as a political move, considering the forthcoming elections, and amid concerns of an electoral process devoid of thugs, usually hired by some politicians to ensure that they win elections at all cost. The House of Representatives is asking the Federal Ministry of Health to immediately activate strategies to be implemented in monitoring adherence to Ebola guidelines and ensure residents continue to comply with all advisories aimed at curtailing the likely development of the virus in the country. This follows a motion of urgent public importance by Representative Dachung Bagos, drawing attention to the outbreak of the virus in Uganda. Consequently, the House is asking the Nigeria Center for Disease Control to ensure intensive observation and check on travel protocols for inbound passengers from red flag countries, as well as set up a national response to control the likely emergence and spread of the Ebola virus.
Aware that on the 20th September 2022, Uganda health authorities declared an outbreak of Ebola disease caused by Sudan virus following laboratory confirmation of a patient from a village in the central Uganda district. Also aware that the World Health Organization raised concern that in the absence of licensed vaccine and therapeutics for prevention and treatment of the Sudan virus disease, the risks of potential serious public health impact is high. Has reason to be worried at the moment as a deadly Ebola virus can get into Nigeria through our borders, or travelers coming into Nigeria for businesses or any reason, and could become dominant if unchecked.
Well, that's all the time we have on the Gavel today. Thanks for your time. I'm Terry Ikumi. Goodbye.